Bitcoin is at an absolutely critical level. Will 67,000 hold? We saw Bitcoin go up to 68K, flush right back down to 65. We have since rebounded, knocking on the door of 67K again. Is this the real move? Breaking out of that 7-8 month channel we've had in, Magic is going to be joining us to break down the charts and what to expect from the price action of BTC. Massive inflows. $500 million flowed into the Bitcoin ETFs yesterday. Is Wall Street back? Larry Fink, they had their Q3 earnings call. There's a recording of what he had to say about Bitcoin and what he had to say about Ethereum. You don't want to miss that news. We also have some ICP news we want to share with you. Why ICP and Cardano are doing something similar down in Argentina. Who will be the clear-cut favorite? Who will win down there? We'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about Kamala Harris's brand new. What is she going to do for us here in the crypto industry? We'll talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, stale information, repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy way. It was short-lived, 68,000. We were there, we hung out for 2 minutes, and then we were back.
Well, we're back over 67 now.
Yeah. Do you, what do you forecast for the 68,000 mark? Do you think it? It was just a quick flirt? Or
Nah.
I think it's more.
I think we flushed out some longs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But I think that Bitcoin's price, I think is going to continue to go up.
You think so?
I really do, yeah.
I agree. I think we're both in agreement. It's going to go up. But my thing is it going to be in the next couple of days, during this week is more or less? Because it's like, was this a fake out or was this the realistic rally before the big move? You know, that maybe that, what is it?
I mean, you said it yesterday,
7K,
right? You
right?
said you want to break out of the channel, and if we could stay above it for 2 days, well, guess what? 67.5 is toward the top end of that channel. And so what are we looking to do when we get above 67.5, like Rob mentioned, whether it's 2 days, whether it's 3 days, definitely has to be at least 2 days, right? We break above it, we come back, we want to retest, right? It's called the bump and run. We want to retest the upper end of that trend line and then maybe consolidate on top of it, right? And then I think we're going off to 70, 73K, new all-time highs. And so I do. You know, a lot of things are changing. So I did mention ETF flows yesterday. A little over $500 million of money flowed into the Bitcoin ETFs, with Fidelity leading the way at $240 million. Bitwise came in second at $100 million of inflows, followed by BlackRock at 79. Every single one had inflows, including Grayscale, with the exception of Bitco. I believe that's Bitco. BTCW?
I'm not sure on the tickers. No.
Yeah. So positive from everyone. I think Grayscale's a big one here, 37.8. We're not seeing those massive outflows like we saw earlier for obvious reasons. Also, another signal that's flashing is miner revenue. Looks like the bottom is in for Bitcoin miner revenue. And well, you know what that means, Robin. If the bottom is in for miner revenue, it's only up from here, my friend. And so there's just a lot of things happening in the space. You take a look at where Bitcoin's price is right now. And again, we got Magic joining us today, so we'll have him go over the charts with us. But $67,100. You take a look at this. This morning it went up to 67.8, came all the way back down to 64.9, and has since rebounded. So seems like a tug of war between buyers and sellers. It looks like the buyers are coming out on top. I zoom out to the 7-day. I mean, this is pretty interesting. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you kind of agree? Do you think this is? You think we're kind of consolidating maybe around the 67 level?
I think at this point, okay, so we're still in the broader channel, right? Where it was late February, we broke 60K. And then March, we went up to that 70,000. And since then, we've just bounced around between at times briefly under 60,000, but essentially between 60 and 70,000. That's we've just bounced around there the entire year for the most part. If you exclude the first 2 months of the year, right? If you exclude January and most of February, I mean, this year has pretty much just been 60 to 70,000. And so am I ultra hyper bullish and think that, we're on the way to new all-time highs? Let's break out. Let's get back above 70K. I mean, I think that's the obvious answer here, is to say, well, of course, we're going to break new all-time highs. We got to be above 70,000. But I don't know. I mean, we're not far off. And so I think that if in the next 48 hours we go above 70,000, even for a brief moment, I think that's pretty much the signal that we're going to smack all-time highs this month.
Sebastian said, my buddy thinks Bitcoin is going to dip back to 58K. What do you think chances of that are?
I think that would have to be narrative driven, right? I think that I don't want to say fundamentals, because the fundamentals of Bitcoin are going to always stay the same. But steady. Yeah, but I will say that the global environment and perhaps the private sector can cause a big shakeout, right? I think that if there's some kind of I don't want to say black swan event, because you could throw that on anything, but I don't know, man. I mean, I think that if you get some major headlines that's to the downside, maybe if the U.S. all of a sudden starts selling Bitcoin, I think that would be a big drawdown. I mean, we saw what happened when Germany was selling Bitcoin, right? They had a small percentage of what the U.S. had. They had what, 80,000 or 100,000?
They had a little over 100K.
Yeah, so
I believe.
Yeah, so the U.S. has about 2.5 times that amount, and so I think something like that could draw it down. But I think,
but all those fears go away in the next 25 days if Trump gets elected, right?
Well, I mean, theoretically, but at the same time,
if Trump gets elected, people are not going to worry about him selling.
No. But also you got to think that maybe the incumbent president will try to mess up his game plan. And now I know that sounds crazy, but
you also got to remember, Rob, a lot of it's tied up in the courts, right? The judge has to give the okay for the U.S. government because it seized Bitcoin, right? A lot of it's
didn't they already give the okay? I know they were going to court.
To a portion of it.
Yeah. So okay,
but not the
what happened? What happened when Biden got in office? Right, Trump was building the wall. There was the wall down there, and it all got halted, and a lot of the progress got reversed. And I'm not advocating for or against or whatever. That's for a different show. But at the end of the day, policy was unwound. And if we know that Trump's policy is that he wants to hodl the Bitcoin that we have, if the president that's there loses, or that Democrat held position at the executive office, if they lose, then I mean, don't you think that they'll try to go scorched earth before they go out? I mean, Trump kind of did it when he went out, right? He threw a fit about the Supreme Court justice. He got two more Supreme Court justices nominated and through at the stroke of midnight, right? And there was a big controversy. They're like, hey, you know what? You're on the way out. You're not even the president-elect, and you're trying to push through a Supreme Court justice. And so, I don't know.
It'll be interesting. It's something to keep an eye on. You know what else is interesting? MicroStrategy has outperformed every company in the S&P 500 since August of 2020. Robin, we're talking about a time frame where we saw NVIDIA just absolutely. NVIDIA has outperformed Bitcoin, right? Do that chart, and MicroStrategy has outperformed every single company in the S&P 500. Why is this big? Guess what other companies are going to look at? Guess what shareholders are going to want? Hey, guys, look at these guys over here. They're making a shitload of money. Dividends, price goes up. We all make money as investors. Maybe we should have a little bit of Bitcoin on our balance sheet.
I'm just surprised nobody is copied MicroStrategy, right? And I know there's other companies that have exposure, but I'm surprised nobody's had the quote unquote Bitcoin strategy, and they're just
But
holding
he's
it as
gone
a treasury.
all in, bro.
Yeah.
Michael Saylor is literally
But out of the millions,
dude
of
would
people,
sell his kids probably.
okay,
for
out of the
Bitcoin.
tens of thousands of publicly traded company and the millions of people that collectively work at all of those that are board members and senior executives, how come nobody else has went down that path? And I know it's very extreme, but I just figure that with the success they had, there would be one other company, someone else would be like, hey, can we try that as well?
They're doing it in Japan, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, here in the U.S., I mean, I'm just surprised. Like, if you would have told me in August of 2020, hey, the Bitcoin strategy that MicroStrategy has moving forward, if we teleport into the future 4 years and be the most successful company, how many companies are going to follow suit? I would say at least 10 or 20, right?
Yeah.
And so it just confuses
It's
me.
definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But I think we can both agree we're probably going to see more of it in the future, right? Whether it's in a year, 2 years, 3 years.
I mean, I don't know. They haven't moved. Nobody's done it yet.
It's still early, Robin.
That's what I'm
okay?
saying.
They're still afraid
It's
of
been
Joe
4
Biden. They're
years.
afraid of Biden and Kamala.
That's my thing. It's been 4 years.
Listen, man.
Look at the successes that they've had.
If
and
Kamala-
nobody's done it yet. And there's a Bitcoin ETF, so you can't even use the argument that it's hard to buy.
If Kamala Harris wins and you're in crypto with a certain skin color shade, you're going to make a lot of money, man. Now, I do want to share this. This is an audio recording. It says the voice you're going to hear is Larry Fink from BlackRock. This is their Q3 earnings call. And this was released. Listen to this. This is, some argue, the most influential man in the world of finance.
Well, first, I'm not sure if either president or other candidate would make a difference. I do believe the utilization of digital assets are going to become more and more of a reality worldwide. Conversations we're having with institutions worldwide, conversations about how should they think about digital assets, what type of asset allocation there should be. I mean, we believe Bitcoin is an asset class in itself. It is an alternative to other commodities like gold. Well, first, I'm not sure if
We're having conversations with companies worldwide. Robin, this is the man the United States government called on to help bail out companies in the 2008 financial crisis. He also said the role of Ethereum as a blockchain can grow dramatically. Now, we know ETH has kind of been a little slow out of the gates with the ETF, right? I think we expected it to some degree, but
You think there's a lag to the pump there? I mean, because in the last 24 hours, we were actually seeing Ethereum down on price. And, I mean, look here, this is on the 24 hours. So we know that Bitcoin's rallied. Bitcoin's over 67,000. And yet we're seeing ETH down. I mean, it's only 1.2%, but I think that speaks volumes for what's going on in the altcoin market. Now, not all altcoins are down, and not all altcoins are flat. There are plenty of exceptions, but I do think that what we're seeing now is the altcoins taking a back seat and waiting to see what Bitcoin does. Right? We know that once Bitcoin rallies, what happens? Bitcoin goes green. Once it finds its support, then at that point it consolidates, and then the alts run, right? The alts catch up, right? It's always a delayed effect. Now there's always, you can see here, you see this right here, this coincides with the move of Bitcoin this morning, where it briefly went over 28,000, or 68,000, excuse me. So it's still moving sidestep.
By the way, Rob?
What's that?
How high did Ethereum get? 2680?
2680, yeah.
Yeah, so about 2,700.
Yeah, but I still am in the camp that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. I just think that Bitcoin needs to break an all-time high to do so, right? And so if we see a scenario where Bitcoin goes to, say, 84,000, something like that, it's well above previous all-time highs. I think that we see $4,000 Ethereum, and do the math there from 67,000 to $80,000 or $83,000, we're talking about a 20% run up on Bitcoin from where it is at this exact moment. But I think you get a 50% run up from Ethereum from where it is now in that same scenario. I think that Ethereum has sold off against Bitcoin. If you look at the Bitcoin ETH pair, you'll see that, and we know we got Magic in the backstage, but maybe we'll have him look at the Bitcoin ETH pair, and that has performed very poor for Ethereum this calendar year. Now, yeah, you could say it performed pretty poorly since 2022, right? And if you zoom out, Ethereum's performed very well because prior to the last bull market, it was under $100 briefly. But I don't know. I think $4,000 Ethereum, if we see a $80,000 Bitcoin, I think that's on the table, and I think that there's a lot of room to be made. And I think that Bitcoin breaking all-time highs is the fuel that the ETFs need. I think that Wall Street will come in heavy-handed buying up Ethereum.
Yeah. Rob mentioned Magic. We have Magic joining us. It is Magic Tuesday as he joins us every Tuesday. Magic, welcome back to the show, my friend. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm cold. I was told you guys have nice weather there.
Come visit us anytime, brother. Rob's got a room, right?
Yeah, I got a room. Also, the pools are still open for another week here in Las Vegas. So come to Vegas and you still hang out poolside Cabana. If you make it out here in the next 72 hours, I'll book one for us. Let's go.
Yeah, careful. Last time I went with him to the pool, he took me to one of those nude pools. It was very.
Why do you say careful? You know,
it's all dudes there. Anyways, Magic.
It was all dudes.
Magic.
Bro, let me tell you, man. Like when I first
Is it story time?
Sure, yeah, story time. It's been a while. Magic
has not been a while.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Magic. Here.
Yeah, all story time. So I was just a young pup. I came out to Vegas from Virginia, and I was working as a cook, my little hourly position. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey, you want to come to the pool tomorrow, whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll show up." I pull up. Little did I know he was dating a stripper. And it was her birthday, and there was like 20 girls, and little did I know it was a topless pool.
Oh,
and I was like, he waved to me, and it was like I was in a movie, bro. He waved to me, and it was one dude, and then like 20 girls, and all their titties were out, and I was like,
you're staring at the dude, weren't you?
and I like run up, and then next thing you know, I'm in a bathroom throwing up. I ruined the whole night or day, but it was very interesting. It was a very surreal moment for me.
Wow. How old are you?
I think I was like 21, maybe 22.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I came from Virginia, man. So
You guys don't have titties in Virginia?
No, we do, but they don't look the same.
They're not Las Vegas titties, okay? They're not filled with silicone.
Those things are,
Okay.
they sit just right,
Speaking of
good support on those.
Speaking of inflating things and support, Bitcoin bounced off support. So Magic, I just want to share this, and I don't know if you think this way when you look at candles, but when I look at candles, I think of them. Hey, there's people behind these candles, right? And so you can paint a picture of what the traders, at least psychologically, were thinking. If you see large wicks, it was a tug of war. So I'm looking at this. I'm like 68, and then almost immediately back down to sub 65. Price has since rebounded to 67.3. Magic, can we take a look at a Bitcoin chart? Is this the real breakout? Are we going to see some follow through here, pushing up towards 70K? And why do you think, is there a reason that we saw this massive price swing? So it's a $3,000 price swing for BTC in a matter of minutes.
Okay, Bitcoin on the high time frames, like you said, we did just get back to support. Last week, we carved out a box. If you recall, that was below the lows that we had identified. We said if we were going to take a long, it was going to be below here, if I can get my mouse to work. And we were looking to essentially establish support between about 59 and somewhere around 58K. Really nice buy up. In terms of your question about this candle, I'm going to rob a chart from our group, and I'll put it on mine, obviously. But there's a couple things that occurred here. Above this level, which is a standard deviation, one of the levels that I've said, these are the levels for the entire year for 2024. That was what we bounced off of here and what we're bouncing off of again here. So I look at them as miniature ranges inside of a larger structure at that point if I'm trading it. And you've come back and back tested it. But most importantly, what was here was if you were to zoom into like the hourly, you'll notice that you have some lows left over from Asia and London that were probably sitting in nice long positions after trapping a little bit of open interest down here. And so they probably all have their stop losses here. You've come up, you have hit a technical target. He had posted it in the group, and I don't do much on the low time frame in terms of harmonics, but he does. And it's a shark pattern, which implies that we're going to take the low, which we did, and then we're going to come up and take the high, and then you're going to have a retracement. And the target of this would be the 50% mark, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So there's technical resistance here. Plus, if you were to turn on just volume profiles in terms of a monthly standpoint, you'll see that, well, you've also got an old point of control that was naked up here that you've ran into. So you're filling in some inefficiencies. You're coming into a technical setup in terms of at least a low to medium time frame. And you had, a fair amount of positions that had built up below these lows, realistically. So they were taken, and it actually made for a very good long. Now, in terms of the target of this and 50% mark, we'll talk about all that because I told him I would address it today on the show. But as long as you're above this like 65K level, and if you recall, we zoom out a little bit, I'm looking for further upside. And I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. One thing I've also done I guess in the spirit of what I did with the yearly and some of the other time frames in terms of getting these levels so that we can use them for the entire session, I did the same thing with halving data. And I did it for the last halving as well. They actually panned out very well. And you would be targeting about 70K as your next area of interest. And these levels are good till the next halving in theory.
What time frame is this on? Is this on the weekly? No, the daily.
This is a daily chart that I'm showing you just because it's easier to illustrate.
Got it.
But these levels are derived from the last 4 years of price action. I'm trying to project and see how accurate will they be going forward. But it would suggest 70,000. The yearly, which we know are very good, also suggests 70,000. The only time we really need to get worried about that, if you recall, 50% mark of this is what you'd be considering, is you would just do something like this and you would draw up and say, okay, 63,402, I would be concerned. Where is my quarterly open, all that stuff? Because if you remember, these are pretty high time frame candles now that we're on the 3-month. And this is where we've been establishing ourselves in terms of a closing. So we're holding this as support. And now that there's an attempt at a breakout to the top side of the range, you really wouldn't want to see this level given up in the immediate term, meaning that if you were to come back down here after some kind of a low time frame rejection, I would start to view it as a bigger rejection than how it is now. Right now, I see it as a roadblock until higher prices. But if you were to lose this region of the chart, which again is about the 50% mark of that target, then yeah, we can kind of have a different conversation, and we say, well, we're probably heading all the way back down to here at a minimum at that point. If you were to give that level up, you're looking at 56. So that's so far away to talk about because the quarterly open is coming in at 62,706 and the 50% is like 63, I think, and some change. We said 63.4. So there's really nothing to be concerned with. This can certainly dip a little bit, but unless it starts really living below like 63, 62 and a half $1,000, I would be looking for this to complete the rotation. And then it ties into what we've talked about for a while. If you guys remember the 6-month chart, we have not closed a candle above 64,990. So we have our local levels that we're trading off of, obviously around 65K. But then you have this high time frame that, price just has not been able to conquer it in terms of a meaningful closure for a change of behavior, which it's attempting to do so now. So 64, 65K will become very important going forward, especially if there is continuation to the upper end of the range here. Putting on the old all-time high, you can see that would be realistically your next level of interest. If you were just to simply dumb it down as easy as we could, we'll just say the old all-time high, 70K is just above it, nice round number, whatever.
Hey, Magic, you're starting to cut out a little bit. Maybe I'm not sure if it's your internet or if it's ours, but we'll kind of we'll share some ICP news, and we'll get back to Magic here in a second. But guys, we're at 270 viewers, only 70 likes. Make sure to hit the like button. It helps push the video to more people on YouTube, so we fill up the chat and the community. Also, we do have a poll up. Will Bitcoin hold above 65K? Currently, we're at 79% of you believe yes, 21% of you believe no. I'm in the yes category. Robin, are you in the yes category?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you did see ICP on your thumbnail. A couple things on ICP I do want to share. This is from Dominic Williams, the chief scientist at Dfinity. I've been quiet for a bit, working to ship. Major evolution to the AI ICP story still coming. More talkative again soon. ICP's roadmap is absolutely massive. The amount they're tackling at any given point in time is pretty massive. I know they're working on the Solana chain key integration. I know they just added CKUSDC on the NNS. I think that's pretty big. You also have this. We are pleased to announce Dominic Williams, founder and chief scientist at Dfinity, as a keynote speaker at Tech Forum Argentina. Now, if you remember, this is also the same one that Charles Hoskinson will be speaking at. So pretty interesting to see. You're going to have two of the top projects down there that we believe can truly help an entire nation state bring their financial services, bring some of their other services on the blockchain. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this for Cardano and for ICP. But Robin, we take a look at the price of Internet Computer Protocol. We're currently sitting at number 26 at $8.08 or $8.09, down 3% on the day. On the week, it is pretty much flat, up 1% for ICP.
I think that, what we're seeing is a pause in altcoins as we see where Bitcoin is going to go, right? And I think that was illustrated also in the Ethereum chart. And like I said, there are a few outliers in the altcoin space. Particularly the memes are doing pretty well, but I don't know. I mean, I think everyone's got their eyes on Bitcoin. I mean, I think the viewers here are trying to see, because when I woke up this morning, it was 68,000 briefly. I was like, here we go. What is where are we going to end up at? Are we going to be at 70K by the end of the day? Obviously that pulled back. Yeah, we absolutely can.
I'll be interested to see what the flows look like today. After the big day yesterday, 555 million. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens today. But looks like we have Magic back. Magic, welcome back. I know you were on the BTC chart. You can feel free to finish that one, or if you'd like to, you can go to an ICP one. I'm going to ask you for both, so I'll kind of leave it up to you.
Okay. The ICP is fine. I think that people get the general idea. He holds 62.5 to about 63.5, and things look good in at least the immediate term. So continuation is the name of the game.
Awesome.
We'll go to ICP. There we go. I got a blank chart up on this one because all the other stuff I have on here is pretty old. But you've got a nice little rally coming in off the lows here. You have come into, in my opinion, some decently important support. You can kind of see how it starts to line up with the structure here. But when we, again, focus on the higher time frames, that's where you're really going to be finding what you need to see. So this little rectangle is essentially support. And I want to show you on the high time frames how we get that before I just move into the low time frame so you can see it interacting with price on a daily. You'll notice that you have the Q2 from April here. That's the low. It was swept, and then now it's being held as support. So, you're setting up a base here, and price is respecting it. The only thing I would say that you need to be aware of is that if you were to look at your 2023 high, which is, last year's high, always important, not a great look anytime you take out a high like that and then have a big retracement. However, nothing's really broken here just yet because you have that support that you're establishing. But it would be important to know that that support is there and that it does need to be held in the immediate to medium term to see some of these upper valuations on the project. If not, you have some very clear support down below, and it's much further away than people probably want to digest. but it's closer to like $4. So it would be like a 50% cut. So to me, this would look like, okay, this is good support for now. If price can make the push back above, the 2024 open, the 2023 high, this little zone between 1329 and 1525, you realistically could see this thing run almost double. Like it could legitimately double in price. Now that doesn't do anything for people that bought all the way up here probably, but if you were buying down in this region, it kind of gives you that like, oh man, that's another 100% from where we are now. And if I bought in around, $5 or $6 or $8 or whatever your average might be, it starts to look very attractive. But even on the monthly here, you can start to see how this box and this zone of support starts to look more and more important, because there realistically is nothing beneath you and these, two lower levels of support, except for this one giant candle, which it's almost backfilled completely. So you really do want to see this hanging on to it. If you start seeing monthly closures below like $8, $7.55, that little zone there, that's where, you might sound the alarm a little bit. Even just taking it out, you just want to see it recovered, especially, but if it doesn't close below there and it buys back up in the same fashion it has been, fairly, healthy. You've got higher lows across the board. You obviously have a flat top of resistance here that you're closing on. So been in a pretty tight range for a little bit. And once it breaks, you're either probably going to see $4 or you're going to see this thing go from 8 back to like 15. And then if that area is cleared, it could potentially do exactly what it just did and double in price again. So to me, I would be trading it that way. If I'm looking for longs, this is the support that needs to hold. My invalidation is going to be closures below this level on a meaningful time scale. If not, I am willing to bid this area as it has been and has shown to be both on a quarterly and yearly chart, as it looks like a place they're trying to establish some form of a bottom, so to speak. I know the ultimate bottom for people sometimes is 0. That's what they say, ride or die, but I prefer not to do that. So if you're looking for more in-depth, like day trading type stuff, you'd really have to put some work in on this one, probably getting this bounce. And this would be more of a swing trade idea, that if you do start to recover like, $9 here off of this support and get back in this range, you're looking for this to run back to, again, that yearly open into that 2023 high zone, somewhere like this. And that would be my next area of interest, and probably take profit. Not the entire position if I was a true believer, but if I was just trading this, that's where I would probably start to lock in a good chunk with that trading idea.
Awesome. Just to kind of chime in here, Magic, that big run-up you showed, that I call it the Bob.fun run-up, right? There's the idea behind utility tokens is, right, the more it's used, the price should go up. We don't necessarily see that in a lot of cryptocurrencies. I look at something like ETH. When ETH ran to $4,000, the gas fees were extremely high. Why? Because people were using it. It created deflationary pressure on the ETH tokenomics, and the price went up. ICP is built in a very similar way, is that when the token is being used and cycles are being burnt, the price tends to go up. And so I think in my opinion, I think for ICP it can happen very, very quickly, to where if it does start to get this mass adoption, cycles are being burnt, transactions are going through, the token becomes deflationary. I think this thing can run up pretty damn hard in a very short period of time. But it does need that utility and people using it and people buying it to use it and burning those off for it to become deflationary, for the price action to go up. Magic, I do want to ask you before we let you go, the poll we have up, will BTC hold above 65K? I am ending the poll. 80% of our community says yes, 20% say no. Where do you cast your vote? Are we going to hold above 65K?
I actually think I voted in that poll earlier when I tuned in when you guys are talking before I come on, so I can hear what's being said.
Okay, cool.
And I'm pretty sure I voted that it'll hold 65K.
Let's go. Bow, 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 bow. Love it. Rob's not bullish today. You okay?
I'm good.
He's very bullish.
Not bullish on your sound effect.
He's internally bullish. Guys, if you want more Magic Internet Money, we do have his Discord link in the chat right now. Go join in there. You won't regret it. Magic, we appreciate you as always, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Before we move forward, do want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor, which is Legacy Network, and the Legacy Academy app is live. You can earn the LGCT token in-app while learning. And that token will be going live very, very soon. It's available on both Apple and Google Play Store. And I just want to give a big shout out. Legacy has been with us for quite a long time. They just hit 300,000 downloads. This is pretty awesome, man. If you guys don't have it, highly recommend. It's free. You learn, you earn, and it's fun as well. I got my kids doing it too. A lot of good stuff in there.
You got your kids farming? I bet you do.
I do.
Of course you do.
Don't report me to the CPS. Now,
Then just a little love to the chat as well. A couple new faces here. We got Chris Gebreselassie, Vlad, EK, Darren Orange, Mark Dutch, Zuno. All of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. You know, we got 300 people here, so pretty good turnout. Only 100 likes, so do us a favor, hit the like. But what I command you to do, all of you, is to put Ola in the chat. We did a fun little contest yesterday. But anyways, put Ola in the chat. It's OLA. We like to spam our own chat here. Why? Well, because YouTube says, hey, look at all these, what's going on over there. There's a party going on.
oh my God, there's an Ola party.
So they're going to just start promoting us if there's a lot of Olas or a lot of chat. So easy way to get those chat numbers up.
Wow.
Is to spam Ola. So let's see if we can get, 200 Olas in the chat? I think we can get 200.
You know, Robin, speaking of promoting, you know who's been promoting? Kamala Harris. You know what she's been promoting?
Okay, go ahead. What's the
Kamala
second?
Harris. Her speech offers no details on crypto regulatory framework, but a couple interesting things here.
I'm going to do something for crypto. I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to do something.
You know,
And don't mind the last 4 years we've been in office. We didn't do anything but hurt it. But I promise, elect me and
listen,
we'll figure something out.
listen. Vice President Harris will deliver for black men.
Are
Okay?
they airdropping Bitcoin to black guys?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Here it is. What are we talking about? Enabling black men who hold digital assets to benefit from financial innovation. I like how leave it to the politicians to try to make everything, to try to divide us based on our religion and our race.
Is that-
We ain't having none of that.
So this press release statement, the only mention in crypto is that?
Well, more than 20% of black Americans own or have owned crypto assets. Vice President Harris appreciates the ways in which new technologies can broaden access to banking and financial services. She will make sure owners of and investors in digital assets benefit from a regulatory framework so that black men and others who participate in this market are protected. A lot of people chimed in.
Is that the only reference to crypto?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
You have been silent on all of your policies. Every policy that you released, every statement you've come out and said, hey, you know what? Harris for crypto. Came out and said that, right? Campaigning on Harris for crypto, but yet has yet to mention anything she's going to do. But her first public announcement, she's going to let the black dudes keep their.
I think the story here is stop trying to throw race or religion or anything else in it. Just Bitcoin miners and the operators.
The big takeaway for me is that you've been quiet this whole time, and this is your grand entrance.
So listen to
your
this.
Grand entrance is you're going to let black dudes keep their Bitcoin.
This is
Why not ladies?
Listen.
Why does she single out the black male?
Listen,
I'm just curious.
Cleve Messidor, who is the author and executive director of Blockchain Foundation, told Eleanor Tourette in a statement, it is perplexing that the Harris-Waltz policy team opted not to meet with diverse leaders in crypto, but instead is rolling out a policy that narrowly frames crypto around black men only and proposes a regulatory framework limiting black men to consumers instead of producers. And then it's already being implemented, Robin, on DEXs. So you know how when you go to Uniswap and you swap something that's not available on a centralized exchange, it gives you a little pop-up that says, hey, just so you know, this isn't listed on a major exchange. Be careful. You got to hit I understand. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, look at this. Warning, the token isn't traded on leading U.S. centralized exchanges or frequently swapped on Uniswap. Always do your own research before proceeding. Also, if you're black, please be extra careful.
I'm buying. I'm going undercover, baby.
What do you mean, you people?
I'm going undercover.
Guys, don't let these.
Let me keep my Bitcoin.
Let me tell you something, man. In a world so divided, don't let these politicians try to divide us by the color of our skin. We don't give a shit If you're black, white, Hispanic, no one gives a crap. You got money for transaction fees? You got money in your wallet? Great, man. No one cares what you look like. And Kamala Harris, don't try to pull that bullshit with us here in the crypto industry. Also, we... Anyways.
Just pay reparations in Bitcoin. How about that? Thank you.
Okay, that might not be a bad idea. New ETF issuer, Canary, who recently filed for a Ripple XRP ETF, just filed for a Litecoin ETF. Man, this thing's going to have massive inflows, right? If it gets approved. Dude, it's going to be huge. Should we be looking at Litecoin right now?
No.
Okay, I agree.
No.
We also have this. Speaking of voting, can the crypto voter actually impact the outcome of the election? This is pretty interesting. So these are all the swing states. In Arizona, there's a 10,000 vote differential and 720,000 crypto owners. In Nevada, our home state, 385,000 crypto owners and a 35,000 vote differential. And it goes on, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And so, John Deaton, I believe today he'll be debating Elizabeth Warren. I could be wrong. I think that's a big Senate race to watch out for. And so it'll be pretty interesting to see how this thing pans out and how influential crypto can really be in this election cycle, not just for the president, but for the House and the Senate as well. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that the election is going to shake up the price of Bitcoin anymore. I think that's everyone's kind of taking their stance, right? Trump's taking his stance. Kamala's now taking her stance. And yeah, I think at just this point, we're just waiting, right? We're going to have what I think is going to be a pretty historic green month here. I think that we're going to round out the year at over 70,000, or excuse me, the month over 70,000. I think that perhaps we'll end at 80,000. I don't know if we'll get quite that high in the short time frame we have that's left in October. But if you take that and you roll it into the election, and if Elizabeth Warren loses to John Deaton, and
that would be massive,
and Trump wins as well, I think it's shots fired. It's a signal because Elizabeth Warren came out famously at least in our circles with a war against crypto. She campaigned on it. She had a digital print ad that she posted on her X account, and so
talking about her anti-crypto army.
Yeah, anti-crypto army, and so she's been very quiet on that lately.
I wonder who told her that was a good idea.
I don't know. I think she had some influential people in the banking sector that
there's 52 million crypto holders. 52 million in the United States. That's pretty big.
So, she was on a very interesting, I don't remember where it was, but I was watching an interview with Elizabeth Warren, and she was talking about John Deaton and how he was placed there by the crypto companies. She was saying that she came out
and
she was standing against crypto, right? She was like, hey, you know what? Crypto needs regulation, the whole money laundering and in North Korea. She went down that whole rabbit hole. And then she said, hey, because I have the stance, the crypto lobbyists and the crypto companies came in and put John Deaton in. Which is kind of funny because if you know anything about John Deaton, he is not a career politician. He's a lawyer. He's not at all. He's been on our show before. I mean, he's just a good dude. I mean, at least at face value. I don't know. Sometimes you get duped, but from my judge of character, he seems like he's a kind-hearted person that seems to have the interest of not only crypto people, but just kind of the broader. He came from, he was talking about his family upbringing and I don't know. I just feel like he wasn't placed there by the crypto companies. I think that what we saw was frustration with one Democratic nominee or, the incumbent Massachusetts senator, which is Elizabeth Warren. People are just frustrated with her. They're tired. And so is it no surprise that someone that's outspoken, vocal in crypto with great family values and upbringing comes in and also let's not beat around the bush. You got a lot of money coming in for crypto, right?
Yeah.
So, it's no surprise. I think that people are going to walk away, and the same way we were talking about MicroStrategy, like, look, we saw the success that MicroStrategy had adopting the Bitcoin strategy, outperforming all the S&P 500 companies since August of 2020. I think that what you're going to see here is if Elizabeth Warren loses her election to John Deaton, what do you think happens the next go around, the next election?
Oh, everyone's going to be pro-crypto.
Everyone's going to be pro-crypto.
Yeah.
What happens, and then you couple that with Trump, and then he's going to have a pro-crypto stance. And I'm telling you, the next election, the following, I'm talking about the 2-year election, not 4-year presidential,
midterm election.
The midterms. What do you think that's going to look like with money coming in from crypto? Right? Obviously, you're going to get campaign financing if you're pro-crypto. And also, just the sheer track record. Hey, they knocked Elizabeth Warren off.
I could argue from a political standpoint, him beating Elizabeth Warren is bigger than Trump beating Kamala Harris.
It's a bigger narrative, but Trump, obviously holds a larger position.
I get it.
And so
I'm saying for sending a message to the rest of the political field, it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I do want to share this piece of news. If you're a Ripple fan, you should be happy. Ripple names exchange partners for stablecoin RLUSD awaits the approval from the New York Department of Financial Services, also known as the NYDFS. The firm also added ex-FDIC chair Sheila Bair and David Puth, the former CEO of Center, a consortium which sets standards for USDC. They added these people to their advisory board for their stablecoin. They also partner with exchanges Bitstamp, Bitso, Bullish, CoinMina, Independent Reserve, MoonPay, and Uphold for distributing their RLUSD at start. And again, they're waiting for regulatory approval from the NYDFS for their public rollout, to which President of Ripple Labs, Monica Long, said, from our side, we're ready. We're just waiting for the approval from, now guys, this is going to be pretty massive. And, Forrest kind of broke this down on Thursday, how this is going to directly affect XRP, as everything's going to run through the XRP ledger, which the XRP token will be used to pay for those transaction fees. So this could potentially be pretty big for the XRP token.
I think that this is going to be something that we look back at and a lot of people overlook. I think that if there's anybody that has the capabilities at this point to give Tether and USDC a run for their money, it is Ripple.
You think it's Ripple?
100%, man.
You don't think it's PayPal? What about PayPal?
PayPal doesn't have what Ripple has as far as
infrastructure.
Well, there's that, yeah. But I was thinking just the SEC is going to leave them alone.
Ripple?
I think so.
You don't think they're going to leave?
I don't think they're going to start any new case, right? I think that you have multiple stablecoin providers out there, and if they're going to go after a stablecoin provider, I just don't see it being Ripple. Yeah, especially not after the track record that the SEC has had against Ripple Labs. They've lost. They had a very public, drawn-out court case, which they lost. I mean, there was a fine implemented, but essentially what they were trying to do failed, right? They had lawsuits against Chris Larson and also who was the other?
Garlinghouse?
Yeah, Garlinghouse. They dropped both of those. Those got dropped by the SEC. And then they were trying to say they were selling securities, and they weren't. And the judge clarified that their token's not a security.
How could the token be a security? I've never understood that. And I'm happy the judge clarified, right?
I mean, in the most idiotic way, without doing any kind of comparative research or, applying just basic
common sense.
Yeah. You can say, hey, you know what? They issued a token very similar to issuing stock, right? You buy and you get a return. But I mean, you could say that about a lot of things, right? And so at face value, I mean, you could make that argument very quickly. But when you start to look at the nuts and bolts of the whole thing, you're like, this is not a stock. You can look at Ethereum, for example, and just say, hey, there's a gas fee model. Look at stocks. You can't sell your stock to power a network, right? You can't use your stock to make more money, by converting it, right? All you can do is buy and sell it. And so you have infrastructure or real world utility that uses the baseline token for functions, right? And so I don't know. I think that, just getting back to Ripple here, I think that this could be something we look back at, and maybe 2-3 years from now, the household name for stablecoins is the Ripple one. So
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, Chris Larson contributed to the Harris campaign. Let's say I heard he contributed to Elizabeth Warren too. Pretty interesting.
Did he?
That's not true. No, it's a joke. And then one more thing on XRP. XRP to be adopted by big global banks as Ripple eyes growing $16 trillion custody market in a significant move to bolster its position in the digital asset infrastructure space. Ripple has announced a major expansion of its custody services. The features aim to provide bank-grade tools to fintech and crypto-native businesses. Notably, the enhanced Ripple custody now includes several key design features designed to meet the growing demands of the digital asset economy. Among these are integration with the XRP ledger for tokenizing real-world assets, new hardware security module options, pre-configured policy frameworks, and improved user interface and usability. Lots happening here on Ripple, man. Maybe David's becoming a little more bullish on Ripple. Go ahead, Rocco.
What? No,
I know you're sitting
no,
on
you
a lot.
can change now. You're gonna give. You need to. You're not allowed to buy.
Really? Do you say that to Robin when he flip-flops every other show? No, you don't. Anyways.
Flip flop every other show. What are you talking about?
Okay, sorry. Every other week's show. That'll do it for the show today.
Real quick shout out. I know I was going to give you guys some love. Edward Gill, X21, Skyseam, Lord Twistin, Marcus B, LOL, L Mike, Leo Mo, Jose Rojas, Rummy, No Limit, Joho, Sam, Hugo B, all of you. Hola! Welcome.
If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We do put out other content as well. We have a Cardano video we dropped yesterday. We do our live show Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we log off, Bitcoin's currently at 67.1. Will we be over 67 tomorrow when we come into the studio?
Yes.
Yes. Rocco?
70,000.
All right. With that,
He might actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we had 70,000.
I mean, you say it enough, you might be right one of the times, right? It's like closing your eyes and throwing a dart.
No.
You might hit the bullseye one out of every 100,000 times. Guys, that'll do it for the show today, Rocco. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Big thank you to Magic for joining us. If you enjoy the content, again, make sure to subscribe. Check out the links in our description. A lot of cool stuff in there. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, peace.
Sin City, crypto, everybody know we here for entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in, for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David, I split the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite, I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners, special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners, ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors, they gonna teach us. Mean coins, they polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin, and sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control